Your voice is not audible.
आपकी वॉइस नहीं आ रही कते फोन करो आपकी वॉइस
वाहिद भाई, अच्छा अभी 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 I'll just start. Can you hear me now? Okay, okay, okay. I'm on my laptop. Okay, thanks. I'll start now. Okay.
वो आप होस्ट है
Yeah. Sorry for the delay. There was some technical glitch. I couldn't hear anyone. So let's get started. My name is Samir Ahmed. I am with CGC from the past 12 years, on and off. Uh, Sorry, with Deloitte 12 years, and with CGC it's almost 8 years that I'm on and off. One of my friends introduced me to this wonderful organization. So a little bit of about my background. I hold a bachelor's degree in accounting and computers with ITIL V3 certification. I I am with Deloitte for almost 10 years and supporting the audit arm, handling the audit business, managing their software business analysis, and I lead the end-to-end delivery and service management and project management part in one of the audit functions. My main focus is on people, process, and products. So we help people across the globe in their day-to-day uh, problems and issues that they raise during their day-to-day activities. About me, I like traveling to new places and enjoy nature. I am a fitness enthusiast as well. I've started working out on myself, reading books, trying to uh, uh, learn new things every day. So, as a part of learning curve, I came across this interesting topic: how to procrastinate. So today I will uh, introduce you to this topic, as most of us might not know what and how to procrastinate. So we will get started. I see there are people who are still joining in. So a warm welcome to everyone. Please let us know if you if you can't hear us, so that we can help you. Okay, this was a little bit about myself. So let's get started and start our session: how to procrastinate effectively. So, as you all know, as you all might know, in a simple word, how you put procrastinate is you delay something. Procrastination is an art. So being lazy is bad, is what I want to convey today. and will try to help you understand what I wanted to convey. So I'd like to ask a question to the audience: that what did you understood from the topic how to procrastinate? Did you what was the first reaction when you saw on your WhatsApp or Facebook that there's a session called how to procrastinate effectively? Was there any first thought came to your mind? You can use your chat, or you can use your uh, unmute, but you can unmute yourself and you can talk. Okay. Dr. Shima just mentioned you being sarcastic. I did not get that. Okay. 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 Great. Yeah. Stop delaying laziness. All right. Okay. Pessimistic. Wonderful. Okay. Yeah. Is it that's absolutely true. That's absolutely true. Yeah. True. Yeah. Very good. I stop procrastination. Okay. All right. So there are multiple things which we consider in our day-to-day lives, and procrastination is like an art that you can delay things. You certainly have the opportunity
हम
to.
लोग अनम्यूट कर सकते हैं
Can you all mute yourself? Sure. Thank you. Okay. So first, I'd like to play a video to you, and well, this is on a lighter side. There's this is an advertisement that we have seen. You might have seen in your television. So I'll play this video for everyone, just on a lighter side.
मेरी छड़ी उठा दोगे? बेटा, मेरी छड़ी उठा दोगे?
जी माँ जी।
थैंक यू। थैंक यू बेटा। अच्छा हुआ तूने कुछ नहीं किया।
मोस्ट वेलकम माँ जी।
थैंक यू।
कभी कुछ ना करके भी देखो। Eat 5 star, do nothing.
मेरी छड़ी उठा दोगे?
Right. Just on a lighter note, this wasn't we are not sponsoring Cadbury's or its brands. So just wanted to give you a clarity on what I wanted to start on the procrastinations. There are certain times at which you tend not to do anything. So the art of doing procrastination is, let's say, for example, I wanted to work on a project, and I immediately got a call from my friend asking me to look at his work. So I am concentrating on my project right now. That's my work that I wanted to do right now. But one of my friends reached out to me on the phone, and he asks me, can you help me with his project? So leaving behind your project and assisting your friend with his work is kind of your procrastinating. You are leaving behind your work at that moment and concentrating on something else is what is called procrastination. So there are two kinds of procrastinations. There is a deadline situation and a non-deadline situation. So usually our human mind tends to work nearer to the deadlines. Let's take let's take an example in our day-to-day lives. We see uh, you have a bill to be paid, you have an electricity bill to be paid, and the due date is 24th, example. Now, what you'll tend to do is you try to snooze it out. You tend to keep on waiting until 24th, and on the day when your bill is due, you go ahead and pay the bill. And sometimes, a classic example of myself, what I tend to do is I pay my broadband services bill on the due date. So after 2 to 3 snoozes or 2 to 3 mails or messages coming in from the service provider, I tend to go and pay that. Or sometimes it happens, it crosses the due date, and then at that moment you pay the bill. So that's a deadline situation. And the second one is a non-deadline situation where you don't have a deadline, you can work as you wish, and there's no one asking you about the deadline. You have the ample amount of time and you can work on it. So it's like an endless loop on that situation you tend to do on, and that's the heights of procrastination. So let's go deeper a bit on the deadlines. So on a deadline situation, you have a panic button which just triggers when you start coming towards the deadline. For example, if you have a project that needs to be completed on 25th of this month, now you start working on. There are times that you start working from the day one, then the project gets started. But if there is a delivery to be given on 25th, you tend to give a start a week before. So if you have a deadline, it could be months, hours, or minutes. So it purely depends upon how the situation is. So you act according to the deadline. I uh, there are many examples that we can take from the deadlines. That like the classic example that I've taken of paying the electricity bill is one of the classic example. If you don't pay the electricity bill, you tend to get a disconnection. Not in Hyderabad, but in some other parts of the country and other places in the world, you certainly have a deadline to a few things. Uh, so if you move ahead with uh, working according to the deadline, then I believe it can be avoided. So it's just that I'm talking about the deadlines. We'll talk about how to effectively uh, uh, tackle that and make sure that you are productive in your day-to-day lives. In the other type of procrastination part is non-deadline situation. So there's no panic button as there is no deadline. So you say there's no deadline associated with this work, and I say as is. You'll be in your own world that there's no deadline and you can do whatever you want. So these are the two broadly classified deadlines that are associated as part of procrastinations. If you have any questions, please feel free to unmute yourself, or you can use the chat bot to chat button and talk to us or give us your questions. If anything is not clear, please stop us at the moment. Right. So how to procrastinate effectively revolves around these three steps that I've just mentioned. So what we can do is there are three parts to it. One bite at a time. Second, to start. Third one is to stop the distractions. Okay, thanks. So moving ahead with to overcome the panic button situation, the deadline situation, what you need to do is one bite at a time. Why I've taken that at a first point is I'll explain this to you in the later slides. So to start with, one bite at a time. So in the project management and in the day-to-day lives, you have to perform the analysis. For every situation in your life, you have to perform analysis, right? So you can't eat an elephant at one go. There's an old proverb that you can't eat an elephant in one go. You have to break the elephant, or you have to break this in smaller chunks and work on it. So the first step of things to do is one bite at a time. You have to start with performing the analysis, then break a task into smaller chunks. For example, if you want to build a house, what you do is you do a market survey, you gather the information, asking people about how to build the what should be the design, how should be the architecture. You just perform the analysis. You talk to many people. You talk to an engineer, you talk to a contractor, you talk to many people, and then bring everything together, and then you start. So breaking that into smaller chunks is like you do one thing at a time. You first lay the foundation, then you raise the pillars, then you start doing the floors, and one after the floor you continue building your entire house. So at one go you won't be able to build your entire building. You have to break the task into smaller chunks, right? So every time you see something, start analyzing. Don't get panic. Make sure that take a piece of paper. That's what I do. If there's a task near me, I take a piece of paper. Being in the digital world, you start typing in and you can keep it somewhere. But what I suggest is start to write it down. Make a habit of writing it in a piece of paper, saying that this is the task, how to break that into smaller chunks. And then that way, it will make it very easy that you move ahead with the task successfully, right? So I've given this example, like fighting eating disorders one bite at a time, right? True. Thanks. So with all these things in your mind, you always have to perform the analysis before a start. The next thing, which is more important, is a start. If you just perform the analysis and do nothing, then it means that there's a gap. You have to proceed with it, right? So there should be a start, and moving ahead with it is what you do is you have to start with the easiest one, right? So in your project, for example, uh, if you got a task to build a site, a website, or you have to manage a website, so what you do is you start with the easiest one. There are many things in the project from the end to end where you'll see something which is most easiest and interesting. Pick it up and start working on that. Even in your day-to-day lives, uh, let's say, for example, starting your day, what interests you is, for example, you like walking. That's the most easiest and interesting thing that you find after you start your day. But after all your religious obligations, the most interesting part that you feel is like you want to walk. Take a walk. If you want to do exercise, do that. Start with the most easiest and interesting thing. What I'll do is I'll take an example of being healthy. So now you see that there's a task in front of you that you have to go to the gym and exercise. Now, if you go to the gym, I won't recommend that you do the hardest of exercise when you start it. So the best thing is start with the easiest and most interesting part of doing the exercise. Example, you go in a gym and you have multiple equipments. You have a treadmill, you have a cross trainer, you have a cycle, you have multiple other things. But what you do is start with the easiest one. Go to the treadmill, start walking because that's the most easiest part. Then you also have cycling. You can move on to that, and with that you will start building your uh, resistance power. Then you can move ahead with the difficult part of doing the crunches or doing the sit-ups or push-ups. These are the hardest part of doing an exercise. So to start, choose the easiest and the most interesting. That will help you in moving ahead. Then second point I wanted to explain is the task which is most enjoyable to you. So interesting and easiest and enjoyable, you will start getting interest in that. After you enjoy your work, it will become a habit for you. You will also have a learning curve in that. Once you start preparing yourself with the easiest and interesting thing, you'll get confidence in you. With that, you can take easy steps forward and go to the difficult part. So start is one of the difficult part in your life. Once you start, things will fall in place. So in the photograph that I've just shown is like you start with the smaller steps, and when you go towards your end goal or towards the final destination of getting the work completed, you will feel that you have accomplished a lot, and then that way it will give you the inner satisfaction as well. So so the first thing is you have to perform the analysis, do one bite at a time, and then start. Right. So the most important and difficult part that I've seen in the procrastination or being effectively procrastination is the distraction. So in the current world, we have many distractions. Now, as most of the people are working from home, now what I feel is that's the major distraction that you see. You live with your family, you have all your children and your family around, and you that's the major distraction while you're working. So the the major distraction also on work and off work is the social media. The usage of social media tools like WhatsApp, Facebook, you have YouTube, you have many uh, OTTs which has come up. You tend to it tends to distract you from your work. So you can easily avoid those by doing something which is interesting to you. Nowadays you have IPL as well, so it's also a major distraction that comes to you while you are working in the real world. As this thing came to my mind, that does anyone know that when it comes to distraction, does anyone know that what is a human what is an average human attention span is? Does anyone know?
Good afternoon, sir.
Hi, good afternoon.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Now,
So the thing is, for distraction, we can go ahead with the focus. The
right.
more you are focused and firm with your decision,
Mhm.
whether you start a particular task or anything, you must be focused and you must be firm with your decision that you are ready to start. It is
True.
same like an example I can give you. If you are standing in a on the signal,
Mhm.
traffic signal, there is ready, set, and go. Correct. So ready states that you are ready for this particular task. Okay, that is you're going to go forward
Right.
to the next destination. Correct. So
Correct.
we can just take example of if there is an orange light, you have to set yourself as ready. Then when it in couple of seconds it will be green. So once it is green, then you are ready to go. Correct. So
True.
the thing is, you need to be focused and firm with your decisions in whatever task you're doing, whether it is particularly saying performing salah, the first thing, and the next thing is performing in whether you are eating your
Right.
meal as well. The meal, when you are giving, when you have the meal in front of you, sometimes it happens that you cannot eat it. It will be only by Allah's will that you will
True.
eat it. It is only by Allah's will that He will tell you that to eat it. Otherwise, you will be like a robot. It will not come to your mouth. Maybe some other person,
True.
maybe you will have guest. Maybe you have guest in your house, and you need to give them the food, and you need to serve them. We cannot say, right? The guests can come anytime, and it is a rahmah of Allah subhanahu wa taala that guests are coming.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So in this distraction, I think the focus is the main criteria which
You're
has
right.
to be
You're right, sister.
taken out.
Thanks.
Jazakallah khair.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thanks for your valuable inputs. So the main question I was asking was there's a study. So does anyone know that what is an average distraction span in a human day-to-day life? Does anyone know this? How much time a normal man can pay attention to anything? Does anyone have any number? How many minutes can a person stay focused? Okay. I see 2 minutes. Does anyone have any other answer? Okay. I have 5 to 10 minutes. I have 10 minutes. Okay. Right. Let me spill the beans. So the average human attention span is 8 seconds. So in every 8 seconds, we get distractions, right? So there's also a study that let me take you through that study. It's an interesting one. So some psychologists claim that the typical student attention span is about 10 to 15 minutes long. So when you move towards the university, it lasts to 50 minutes, 50 to 90 minutes, and with that you can say that a class starts from 50 to 90 minutes, that stays long, and the average attention span for a student, normal student, is 10 to 15 minutes. So it plays a lot of role in your day-to-day activities, what you perform and how you move towards your goal is is mostly dependent upon you, how you prioritize things. So there's always a good practice to get yourself overcome the distractions. There are many tools that you can use in your day-to-day life to overcome the distraction. So for example, in your phone, you can install something called screen time. That will give you a detailed analysis of how many times you've seen your phone, how many times you've watched anything on your phone. That will keep a tab on your distraction level. Phone is just one example. There are many other things to which you can um, you can stay focused and avoid any distractions. So does anyone have any questions around this? Um, okay. So the main topic that I wanted to convey the message is you can always avoid things. Keep it simple. Keep it very simple. Don't get involved in confusion. If you have if you have a lot of uh, things coming into, stay focused. It's okay to make mistakes. No one is perfect, and the art of procrastination is to do whatever is important to you at that moment. You manage things accordingly, take it forward, give extra time to yourself, and that way it will help you to move in your life.
कहा हो मोदी जी जलवायो
So,
उसके बाद
do you
थाली भी
have any
बजवा
other
लिया
questions
मोमबत्ती भी
around the
जलवा
topic,
लिया
or
अब ये
anything you
बता
want
दो
to
चाइना पे
discuss?
चढ़ाई कब करना है
So, which is the screen tile which you have mentioned, the app?
Screen time, yeah. For Android and for I don't use an iPhone, but for Android and iPhone, there's an application called Screen Time. This will help you keep a tab on how many times you've seen the phone, starting from the notifications to the usage of your WhatsApp, then whatever you've seen on your phone will give you a brief in a day that, for example, you've opened the phone 130 times in a day, and you've watched WhatsApp, you've watched Facebook, you've accessed this site for 10-15 minutes. So it'll give you the entire summary in a day to you. So that will kind of be helpful.
So if you don't mind, can I add something?
Yeah, please go ahead.
So you have mentioned